Welcome back to the FEU Film Club podcast. Today's hosts are me, Bence, and Balázs.
Hi.
So today we will discuss two movies in the topic of mental health. What this means is that the two movies which we're going to cover are going to cover mental health, one in a direct way and the other in a not so direct way. But what both movies have in common is that its themes highly revolve around the treating of mentally ill people and how society in the past have mismanaged or had much more primitive means of treating, if it even could be that, of the patient, and how our main characters deal with the society around them or people around them, how they have been treated. But so basically this is our topic today, and the two movies we are going to review are Shutter Island, directed by Martin Scorsese, and One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest by Milos Forman. And these are very good movies. They are the Shutter Island is more adventure-like movie in some ways, and One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is more harder to watch film. So if you have weak heart, then the Cuckoo's Nest will be a much harder movie to digest, I guess, and Shutter Island will be a much easier. But I think both movies are almost equally deep in their message, and we recommend the two of them.
So our topic is the mental health, mental illness, and the psychiatry. And the movies often love to explore the theme of psychiatry. There is something inherently mysterious about it. So first of all, everyone is fascinated by the concept of the mad character. Almost every film has someone who is insane, someone who might be a comedic figure, or someone who is deeply evil. They can be incredibly mystical and wise, or the dumbest character in the entire movie. So this type of topic, the psychiatry, creates the perfect setting to include only these kinds of figures. The viewers love to watch things that feel realistic, grounded, close, and at the same time distant and surreal. So, for example, the psychopaths are a great example of this. Films absolutely love dealing with psychopaths. There is an intense curiosity in the audience toward this subhuman or superhuman entity, and this dark mystery that surrounds the cinematic psychopath is deeply attractive to people. And it doesn't matter if the psychopath is an antagonist or a protagonist, audience are going to love them either way. And the fascination with films about madness is similar, but also entirely different. So there are two layers. One is from the perspective of nurses and doctors. They can either represent absolute power over the patients or complete helplessness. So when it's about absolute power, the stories often involve increasingly brutal surgeries or chemical tortures, just like the lobotomy. In the case of helplessness, the patients are insane but brilliant minds who can manipulate the stuff and take the control. And the other side of these films usually shows things from the patients' point of view. The sick and vulnerable people often face the doctors who have too much power and no one watching over them. These kinds of stories let filmmakers add the dark, mysterious elements, a heavy mood, or strong messages about society. And then in today's episode, we will talk about two greatest films in this genre. Two films that are actually very different from each other. That's what makes them interesting, because in this genre, I I have always noticed that there are clear templates almost every similar films relies on. But thankfully and fortunately, these two films are original, brilliant, and absolutely unforgettable. So even for those who are tired of these cliches of psychiatric hospital films, these movies are still absolutely worth watching. So for those who are tired of the cliches.
Yeah. Often in movies, I think there is a lot of one thing I might add before we start analyzing movies is that a lot of times these psychopaths are like portrayed not so accurately, and often you can see it in recent years with many shows. But even in real life, like if you show like Bundy and such, romanticizing killers and such, it happens in movies too. Like you see the series Hannibal, like the TV show, and a lot of stuff. And it is a topic which many people don't understand, and many people don't want to how should I put it? Don't want to relate to because a lot of movies don't talk about it accurately or don't talk about it with sympathy. And I think this is the big difference with this film. And in the case of like drugs and addiction, I can tell you like Requiem for a Dream, which we'll talk about probably because it's a great movie, is a pretty good movie about the topic. Not so much because it's like perfectly accurate, but because it reaches the topic with so much understanding of the topic. And I think this is the main reason that we chose these two movies today, apart from them being fantastic in their own way. And the story in Shutter Island is basically that Teddy Daniels, played by Leonardo DiCaprio, reaches an island. He is a cop, and on the ship, he gets introduced to his new partner from far away, Chuck, who is played by Mark Ruffalo, and they go to the island to investigate a disappearance. Now, this island is actually an island where an asylum is held, and this asylum holds patients who are too dangerous to stay in real institutions, like a normal institution. And so this is how the journey begins. The doctors there, or the leading doctors, are Jeremiah Naring and John Coley doctor, and they are called by Max von Sydow and Ben Kingsley. And these doctors are quite suspicious in their own way.
Gotta say, I'm thinking I got in the wrong line of public service.
This is a little overwhelming. It was constructed during the Civil War, the same time as the military fort housing Ward C.
Nice music. Who is that, Brahms? No, it's Mahler.
Quite right, Marshal.
Forgive me, gentlemen, my colleague, Dr. Jeremiah Naring.
Quartet for piano and strings, in A minor.
Your poison, gentlemen.
Right, if you got it. Soda and ice, please. Thanks.
Oh, you don't indulge in alcohol? Oh, I'm surprised. Isn't it common for men in your profession to imbibe?
Common enough, and yours?
I'm sorry?
Your profession, doctor, psychiatry.
Yes.
I always heard it was overrun with boozers and drunks.
Not that I've noticed.
What's that? Iced tea in your glass there?
Excellent, Marshal. You have outstanding defense mechanisms. You must be quite adept at interrogations. Men like you are my specialty, you know. Men of violence.
That's a hell of an assumption to make.
No assumption, not at all. You misunderstand me. I said you are men of violence. I'm not accusing you of being violent. Men. That's quite different.
Now, please, edify us, doctor.
You both served overseas, huh?
It's not much of a stretch, Doc. For all you know, we're both paper pushers over there.
No, you are not. Since the schoolyard, neither of you has ever walked away from a physical conflict. No, not because you enjoy it, but because retreat isn't something you consider an option.
We weren't raised to run, Doc.
Ah, yes. Raised. And who raised you, Marshal?
Me? Wolves.
Ah. Very impressive defense mechanisms.
You ever seen a death camp, Doctor? Ein Konzentrationslager. Huh? Ich war dabei. Bei der Befreiung von Dachau. Ihr Englisch ist sehr gut, fast perfekt. His English really is very good. You hit the consonants a tad hard, though.
Is legal immigration a crime, Marshal?
Oh, I don't know, Doctor. You tell us. Now listen. We're gonna need those files on Sheehan and the rest of the staff as well.
No personnel files will be released to you, period.
We're gonna need those files.
Out of the question.
Bullshit out of the question! Bullshit! Who the hell is in charge here anyway, huh? Huh?
Dr. Nyering acts as liaison to our Board of Overseers. He relayed your request and it's been refused.
Refused? They don't have the authority to refuse, and neither do you, sir.
Marshal, continue your investigation and we'll do all we can to help.
This investigation is over. We're gonna file our reports and we're gonna hand it over to
Hoover's boys.
Hoover's boys, that's right. We're taking the ferry back in the morning. Come on, Chuck.
So, before diving into deeper layers of the film, I would like to talk a bit about the director, who is Martin Scorsese. Among living directors, he's arguably the greatest, certainly in America. What's amazing about him is that he can make a film in absolutely any genre or about any topic, and it's almost guaranteed to be one of the best, if not the best, in that category. So Scorsese is mostly known for his gangster movies. These usually star Robert De Niro and often include Joe Pesci too. He made the genre better by showing both mild-time criminals, just as mean streets, or big rich gangs that operates across many states, as like Casino. But he also made brilliant comedies. He's done existential dramas. He's made a film about Christ and even a classic surrealistic piece. And both of each, in my opinion, are not just among the best in their genres, but the best. And when it comes to biopics or career films, he's clearly unmatched. Think of Goodfellas or Wolf of Wall Street, each one incredible. Then The Shutter Island is also a completely different genre. So, in the end, what ties all of Scorsese films together is that no matter how different they are all absolutely fantastic. And Scorsese has made so many, so as I mentioned, he made different style. He direct in different style. And the easiest way to tell you are watching one of his movies is that Robert De Niro is the main actor. At least before 2000s, De Niro was his go-to actor. Scorsese cast him in all kinds of roles because he could play absolutely anything. But later, Leonardo DiCaprio took De Niro's place, and after Titanic, DiCaprio started acting in Scorsese films. Titanic made him a worldwide star, a kind of pretty boy icon like Brad Pitt or Johnny Depp. Now, Hollywood loves to put actors in boxes. If it were up to them, the stars would play the same type of role their entire careers. That's why it takes effort to break out of those roles and prove you are a great actor, not just a replaceable icon. Usually, it's a director who helps with that. For Brad Pitt, it was David Fincher. For Johnny Depp, it was Tim Burton. And for Leonardo DiCaprio, it was Martin Scorsese. And Scorsese gave him roles in some of biggest, most powerful films of his career. Roles that let him show he's truly a great actor. And so this film, The Shutter Island, is a perfect example of that.
Yeah, I completely agree. And And I think DiCaprio is one of the best examples of, like, if I want to say it in trendy words, like glow up in an actor's life. Because before that, as you said, like this pretty boy act and a lot of stuff, many people thought that DiCaprio could only act like this, but it was a great surprise when we found out that under the hand of Scorsese, DiCaprio showed many good talents. I think he's a pretty good actor. In this film, it's interesting because a lot of people know him from like Wolf of Wall Street, which is a pretty good movie, but if they haven't seen Shutter Island, if there are any DiCaprio fans listening, you haven't seen this movie, go see it, because I think he puts down one of his biggest performances in this movie, quite honestly. I'm honestly surprised I haven't seen this movie. It is a pretty unknown movie, despite being directed by Scorsese, and also a lot of factors shine here. Of course, we know Ben Kingsley is reliable. He was always reliable. But like there is like Mark Ruffalo, who acts pretty good in this movie. And it's pretty nice. It's pretty nice, the performance of this film. I really like it. It is like very not Scorsese-like, but of course, as you said, directed many movies. But it is perfect nonetheless. It's one of the best movies I have seen. And so, getting back into the story. So these two investigators, police officers, go into this island to investigate the disappearance. But the strange thing is, as you might have picked up from the clip, these doctors are not very helping. They don't hand documents out. They don't help them out directly. They are quite suspicious, especially by Teddy. And the fact is that the more we get into the film, the more strange it gets. On the Shutter Island is very famous for its harsh weather conditions, and so a big storm breaks out, unsurprisingly, and we could essentially witness. So during this storm, the two police officers discuss, the two detectives, what conspiracies may the island hide from them.
Experimenting on people here.
I don't know, boss. How do you believe a crazy guy?
That's the beauty of it, isn't it? Crazy people, they're the perfect subjects. They talk, nobody listens. I stood at Dachau. We saw what human beings are capable of doing to each other, right? For Christ's sakes, we fought a goddamn war to stop them, and now I find out it may be happening here, on our soil? No.
So what are you really here to do, Ted?
I'm gonna get the proof. I'm gonna go back, and I'm gonna blow the lid off this place. That's it.
Wait a minute. You started asking around about Ashcliffe, waiting for a chance to get out here, and then suddenly they need a U.S. Marshal.
Yeah, I got lucky. There was a patient escape. It was the perfect excuse.
No, boss. Luck doesn't work that way. The world doesn't work that way. They got an electrified fence around a septic facility. Ward C is inside a Civil War fort. A chief of staff with ties to the OSS, funding from UAC. I mean, Jesus Christ. Everything about this place stinks of government ops. What if they wanted you here?
Bullshit.
You were asking questions. Bullshit. We came here for Rachel Solano. Where's one shred of evidence she even existed?
There's no way they could have known I'd be assigned to this case. There's no way.
Well, you were looking into them, they were looking into you. All they had to do was fake an escape to get you here, and now they have you. Now they have us both. Here, now.
Marshal, are you out here? This is Deputy Ward McPherson. Marshal!
How about that? They found us, huh? It's an island, boss. They're always gonna find us.
I know you're in there!
We're getting off this goddamn island, you and me. Come on.
The film presents two very powerful ideas. One of them is that once someone is labeled as insane, everything they say is automatically seen as part of their madness. So someone says they are trying to kill me, it's dismissed as paranoia. This shuts down even the smallest chance of offering real help, and instead we distance ourselves from them completely. And so the second of this really great great layer in that film is the conspiracy theories. So if someone believes in a theory and others tells them it's a lie, that only strengthens their belief. But if others agree with them, that also strengthens their belief. So either way, the theory becomes more real to them. In the film, there is a really huge plot twist, and after it, these two layers would be really. So after the plot twist, we see that two layer in the film is get a huge and correct answer for that. But before we go deeper in that layers, we follow the chronological order. So the main character, Teddy, says that he doesn't see the mentally ill as patients. He sees them as murderers who belong in the electric chair. His frustration is understandable because his wife, killer, is one of those men, and he's actually on the island so the killer of his wife is actually on the island as a patient. And Teddy is determined to find him, and eventually he does. So he finds the killer, but the revenge he imagined doesn't bring him satisfaction. He finds the killer, but it's nothing like the dramatic moment you would expect in a typical crime story.
And on the island, there is a whistleblower of his, and we hear their dialogue describing, essentially questioning Teddy's sanity, and also questioning his partner's Chuck's identity. There's an interesting thing going on in this scene too, where during the movie, Teddy has nightmares of his wife and nightmares of his wife's killer. And so the first time we really reflect on that. And so this whistleblower of his, which he meets the prison board, also reflects. And let's just see how this conspiracy really unfolds. Now, I want to warn listeners that before this we were spoiler free. We just recommended the movie now and just talked about it. But now we are gonna delve into spoiler territory. And if you didn't see the movie, you should go watch it. And then after that, come back to listen to the full analysis.
Let me see your goddamn face now!
What? So you can lie to me more? This isn't about the truth.
Yes, it is. It's about exposing the truth.
It's about you! And ladies. It's all tip upon a ball. I was incidental. I'll weigh in.
George Norris. No, it's not possible. You can't be here.
You like it?
Who did this to you, George?
You did.
What the hell do you mean?
Well, you talk. Well, you fucking talk, and I'm back in here because of you.
George, how did they get you out of Dedham, huh? However this happened, I'm gonna find a way to fix this. You understand me?
I'll never get out now. I got out once, not twice, never twice.
Just tell me how they got you here.
They knew! Don't you get it? Everything you were up to, your whole plan. This is a game. All of this is for you. You're not investigating anything. You're a fucking rat in a maze.
George, you're wrong. You're wrong.
No. Really? Been alone much since you got here?
I've been with my partner.
You never worked with him before, have you?
He's a U.S. Marshal.
You never worked with him before, have you?
George, look, I know people. I trust this man.
they've already won.
Fuck. They're gonna take me to the lighthouse. They're gonna cut into my brain. And I'm only here because of you!
George, I'm gonna get you out of here. You're not going to the lighthouse. You're not.
You can't dig out the truth and kill Latest at the same time. You gotta make a choice. You understand that, don't you?
I'm not here to kill anyone.
Liar!
I'm not gonna kill him, I swear to you. I swear.
She's dead. Let her go. Let her go.
Tell him, Teddy. Tell him why.
You gotta do it. There's no other way. Let her go.
Tell him about the day you brought me my locket.
You gotta do it.
How I told you my heart was breaking and you asked me why.
She's fucking with your head.
And I told you it was from happiness.
She's gonna kill you. She's gonna kill you. You wanna uncover the truth? You gotta let her go.
I can't.
You have to let her go!
I can't! I can't!
Then you'll never leave this island.
So let's talk about the lobotomy, what it actually is. It plays an important role in both of the films we are discussing today, and that is no coincidence. So what is the lobotomy? Lobotomy was a type of brain surgery used in the 20th century. Actually, it involved cutting the connection between frontal lobe and the rest of the brain in order to treat severe mental disorders like schizophrenia or depression. The goal was to reduce emotional reaction and psychotic behavior. There were different ways to perform the procedure. One method involved opening the skull to access the frontal lobe. Later, a simpler method became more common, called transorbital lobotomy, where a sharp instrument was inserted behind the eye, behind the eye, through the bone to sever neural connections. And the result was often emotional dullness, personality changes, indecisiveness, and in some cases, people become completely indifferent to the outside world. It was brutal and cruel form of treatment, but what it makes it so central in these films and in many movies about psychiatry is that this wasn't some hidden, shameful practice. In fact, the man who invented lobotomy was awarded a Nobel Prize in 1949. So this wasn't a secret. It was once seen as a legitimate solution to mental illness. And that was the lobotomy.
Yeah, in the old days, asylums and the mentally ill were often thrown out of the families into these institutions, and so they could forget about them, so they could not bother the families of these people, which was very unfortunate and very sad. Fortunately, we have gone from this era, or should I put it, terror or misuse of power, torturing these poor people, completely killing their personality with these solutions like shock treatment or lobotomy. And these films show this era very well. Of course, this is why we chose them. Now, during Shutter Island, the investigators talk, or more often than not, discuss if they were even planned to be there. If the doctors even planned that they will be captured, or they will capture Teddy. And of course, the disappearance of Rachel Solando, who was the main reason they came here, Mark Ruffalo even proposes the question that, is Rachel Solando even real? And later in the movie, Teddy meets Rachel in the cave. And what Balázs talked about, where this movie discusses how if an insane person is said that they are insane or labeled as insane, every word of theirs, every suspicion of theirs will be branded as part of their mental illness. And this is precisely what the real Rachel Solando talks about, who was a real doctor, according to Rachel's speech. But interestingly, during the movie and during all of this, we are all very suspicious of this, of these events, and we realize that Teddy is having his own problems himself. During the movie, there is a lot of flashbacks. Teddy served in the Second World War, and there are flashbacks of him killing Nazis, rescuing people from death camps in Nazi Germany, and seeing all those poor people die and suffer. And we see that this had a deep impact on him. But there is a lingering mystery. He has a lot of interesting vision. Rachel Solando has a crime. So Rachel Solando was brought into asylum because she killed her 3 children. But she didn't want to. She was completely oblivious to this fact. And we see in a lot of flashbacks like Teddy they're putting the bodies in the lakes with Rachel Solando, having visions of past life events, and it all gets confusing, and we all get deeper and deeper into this strange world. Chuck disappears, and Teddy is left alone to discover the secrets of the lighthouse. And interestingly, Teddy wants to find the most demented, most strangest discovery in there, the worst of his fears. But interestingly, he does find it, but it's not the fear he thought it was going to be. It was not the monstrous machinery, but rather something else, something that hurts him better than whatever he finds at the lighthouse, the truth.
Your delusions are more severe than I thought. You're not on neuroleptics. You're not on anything, as a matter of fact.
And what the fuck is this? Huh? What the fuck is this?
Withdrawal.
Withdrawal? From what? I haven't had a goddamn drink since I've been on this island.
Chlorpromazine. I'm not a fan of pharmacology, but I have to say in your case, the same thing we've been giving you for the past 24 months.
Oh, so for the past 2 years, you've had somebody slipping me drugs in Boston. Is that it?
Not Boston. Here. You've been here for 2 years, a patient of this institution.
Do you know the kind of people that I deal with every day? I'm a U.S. Marshal, for God's sakes.
You were a U.S. Marshal. Here's a copy of the intake form. You broke in towards C4, proof of the 67th patient. If you'd gotten it to the mainland, you could have blown the lid off this place.
Where
somehow you couldn't find time to look at it. Well, read it now.
Patient is highly intelligent, highly delusional, decorated Army veteran. Present for the liberation of Dachau. Former U.S. Marshal, known proclivity for violence, shows no remorse for his crime because he denies the crime ever took place. Highly developed and fantastical narratives which preclude facing the truth of his act.
Your wife's maiden name was Chanal, am I correct?
Don't you even talk about her,
I'm afraid I have to. Notice anything these 4 names have in common. It's your rule of 4. Andrew, what do you see?
If you've done anything to my partner, Doctor, that is a violation of...
Focus, Andrew, what do you see? The names have the same letters. Edward Daniels has exactly the same 13 letters as Andrew Ladis. The same as Rachel Solando and Dolores Chanal. The names are anagrams for each other.
Your tactics, they're not going to work on
You
me.
came here for the truth. Here it is. Your name is Andrew Ladis. The 67th patient at Ashcliffe is you, Andrew.
Bullshit.
You were committed here by court order 24 months ago. Your crime is terrible. One you can't forgive yourself for, so you invented another self. You've created a story in which you're not a murderer, you're a hero, still a U.S. Marshal, only here at Ashcliffe because of a case, and you've uncovered a conspiracy so that anything we tell you about who you are, what you've done, you can dismiss as lies, Andrew.
My name is Edward Daniels.
I've been hearing this fantasy for 2 years now. I know every detail. Patient 67, the storm, Rachel Solander, your missing partner, the dreams you have every night. You were at Dachau, but you may not have killed any guards. I wish I could let you just live in your fantasy world. I really do. But you're violent, trained, dangerous. You're the most dangerous patient we have. You've injured orderlies, guards, other patients. 2 weeks ago, you attacked George Noyce. The warden and the board of overseers are determined something be done. It's been decided that unless we can bring you back to sanity now, right now, permanent measures will be taken to ensure you can't hurt anyone ever again. They'll lobotomize you, Andrew. Do you understand?
We're telling you the truth. Dolores was insane, manic depressive, suicidal. You drank, stayed away, ignored what everyone told you. You moved to that lake house after she purposely set your city apartment on fire. You were... Then you were lying! Andrew, you just...
All you've done is lie! Your children, Andrew, your children! Simon, Henry.
We never had any children.
Your wife drowned them at the cabin by the lake. And here, the little girl, the one you dream of every night.
We never had a little girl.
The one who tells you over and over that you should have saved her. Saved them all. Your daughter. Her name was Rachel. Are you going to deny that she ever lived? Andrew, are you?
It turns out that all along, he was actually investigating himself. So the missing patient was him, and the killer who murdered his wife was also him. So Andrew Ladies, who is the one who killed his wife, is actually Teddy Daniels. These two names are really similar.
Yeah,
and he could.
Sorry to interrupt. They're basically like anagrams. Rachel Orlando.
Yes, absolutely. And he couldn't cope with the truth that he killed his wife, so he created a story around it. And who? So it is a rare and brilliant twist. In the thriller genre, there are many films where something is hidden and the main character tries to figure out what it is. So it's a type of cliche, actually. As the story unfolds, the uncertainty keeps growing until even the audience no longer knows what is really happening. That's when it becomes easy to fully identify with the protagonist, because they are just as confused as we are. So the protagonists are confused as we are. The viewer begins to feel like they can't trust anyone except the main character. This is a familiar feeling in thrillers. And that is actually what happens here for about an hour and a half. We know story just as little as DiCaprio's character does. So when the truth is finally revealed, we don't want to believe it, just like DiCaprio doesn't. We resist it because the film has spent so much time showing us how dishonest the other characters are, and that makes the truth hard to accept.
Yeah, and even then, what I like in the movie is that I think it becomes in the end. It becomes a little bit harder. It was for me to believe Teddy. I wanted to, and I believe him till the lighthouse. But I love when the movie really starts to break down your trust, even with Teddy, during the flashbacks, during how the doctor talked about Ben Kingsley, about his daughter. He randomly shows up besides his wife's ghost, and so you can't trust anybody. You must stay committed to someone, and I stayed committed until the lighthouse with Teddy. And it's all broken. It turns out it was all facade of Teddy's delusions, and all the people on the island were actors in reality during this whole event. Some So the movie is so beautifully done because when you watch it the second time, you can see the people acting, you can see them fumbling. For example, they go out on search on the rocks near the lighthouse in the beginning of the movie, and I thought it was interesting, and all the viewers see like how they do nothing. They just walk on the shore, some sit, some do nothing, and it's because there is no one to search for. Everybody knows it's an act, and they don't do anything. And watching Shutter Island for the second time is essential, I think, and it's pretty good to see how people act and how some people, like for example the doctor who started the whole event, the two doctors, Mark Ruffalo and Ben Kingsley, are committed fully to the act, but the other doctor, such and many other people on the island, are not so much, and the patients also show some signs that they have been told to act, essentially. And this is why basically the investigators don't receive any documents, because really they can't give them out. Also, they can't really leave. They never could. So it turns out basically that this is the last attempt at treating Teddy, or I guess I should say Andrew. And if not, then Andrew is in the danger of being lobotomized, and this is the thing that Ben Kingsley will stop.
That you mentioned that this movie, so watch this movie in the second time, you feel like you're watching a completely different film. And yeah, I also feel this. Just an example, there is the scene where they go to the building C and the bald guy attacks them. Then a guard shows up and walks away with Mark Ruffalo's character, and telling Teddy to stay behind and take a walk. And why? So because he can accidentally run into Jordan Noyce, because it's all written in the script. Teddy is being guided through a planned story that he's meant to follow step by step. They gave him instructions and steer him in the right direction, making sure he plays his part. And that idea is genius. So because that is exactly how a real script works too. For example, just an example, that the hero in a story usually has to meet someone who gives them advice, something they will later use to face the villain. The protagonist has a journey they need to go through. And here, that same journey is happening, but inside the film itself. The characters around Teddy are making sure he follows the script within the story. And because of this, when you watching it for the second time, you feel like you watch an absolutely another movie. And so in the history of cinema, there are such a great movie which has a brilliant plot twist, but that plot twist is reached that level. When you watch second time, you feel you watch absolutely another movie.
Yeah, and this is why I think it's a pretty good rewatchable movie in that regard. Now, before we play the final scene, which will speak for itself, I should say, one more thing, I have to congratulate everyone in this movie for the brilliant performance. I cannot say more. Ben Kingsley, in the final scene, if you will see the movie or seen the movie, the way he looks at Andrew, it's so beautiful, it's so deep, it's so good, it's so I love it. And that look, if you will know what I mean, that look is one of the reasons. So the movie has some people who believe that the conspiracy is still it's still a conspiracy. They believe Teddy, DiCaprio's character. Now, I want to dispute this. I think art speaks for itself in every way. So there are many subtle hints that this is all true, what the movie tells us. The look of Ben Kingsley, the sudden appearance of his daughter, his visions, and when you notice during the rewatch that a lot of times when he he has to be confronted with reality, he gets another delusion. When they give him when their clothes get soaked because of the rain. So when he gets confronted with reality, he creates new delusions. The scene with Rachel Sorando is a perfect example, where Rachel Sorando is basically feeds his delusions so much that when they gave him the cigarettes contained a medicine, a drug which will make him immobile and will make him do things he doesn't want, and a lot of other things. He even mistrusts Chuck also, which I think was planned in some ways, but Rachel Sorando is a perfect retaliation. His visions of the killer, the fake killer. So essentially, of course, Andrew Ladis doesn't exist, or he is Andrew Ladis, and the imagined Andrew Ladis. I love that Andrew Ladis in his mind, the villain, he literally looks so cartoony. He has a scar. He is blind for one of his eyes, and it's so comical if you think back about it. It's so comic. His vision of him, and this is one of the proof. The other is the doctor, Ben Kingsley. He knows, interestingly, much more about Andrew than he knows about himself. But I don't want to hurt anybody. You can believe what you want to believe. You can also decode the film like that. But I feel like the film is more beautiful in the way that it was intended, that Andrew truly is insane because of this. And it is a really sad story. The negligence of society can be seen during his wife. His wife was mentally ill. She had many problems, and Andrew, instead of dealing with them, he didn't take them seriously. That was in part caused the demise of his children and of his wife, because he began to drink. He was drunk a lot of times, and he didn't really take this problem seriously and coped with it in ways which he shouldn't have. And this is the immense guilt. He put down his wife and then had to live with the guilt of not taking care of the problem and causing the demise of his children and his wife. And this is why he creates this fantasy world where he is a investigator. And unfortunately, if you could see, you could listen to us. We do not, of course, nobody likes lobotomy, but the problem was in the movie is discussed that they played similar movies. He was treated, I think, previously 4 times, it is said in the movie, but he always fell back into this delusion because he couldn't live like this. And it all concludes in the final scene. But before that, I want to talk about the people. It is a personal thing to me that I've read in the comments. I wanted every movie with a plot twist, there are people who wants to act smart, and they wrote in the comment section this movie's plot twist is so generic. I knew it. I knew in the first 20 minutes of the movie, and come on, don't I hate these people so much. I think the plot twist is one of the best in the world of cinema and other stuff. And basically, this is what I had to say. So, do you have any more thoughts which you could share regarding the movie?
So I absolutely don't understand those people who can figure out the plot twist in this film. I don't believe it, or it is actually happening. I just ask why it. So if they figure out, congratulations, but you just destroy your experience with the film. I just say that. And I remember when I first saw this film, it was a long time ago, and I actually didn't want to believe the truth either. I want to believe DiCaprio, but of course, eventually I understood. And so when I rewatched it, that surprised me. Thought was you mentioned that someone who just figure out the plot twist, but there are a lot of person who don't believe the truth in this film, and it's actually surprised me, even though I also don't believe the truth the first time. But when I rewatch it, I don't know how to don't believe the truth when actually the scene when DiCaprio kill his wife is actually show the director. So I don't know how to not believe the truth. But I think we can show the final scene, which present a moral decision that only serves as the perfect ending to film, but also perfectly ending to our episode. But before that we show the scene, let's give it a rating. For me, this film is maybe 8 or 9 out of 10. I really love this film. I really love every scene of it. But as I mentioned, when you watch it second time, you watch another type of movie. But I recommend everyone that if you don't watch this movie, but if someone listen to this podcast to the end, they are actually know this film, so they are watch this film at least one. But as I see, when you watch it second, it of course don't reach that level which give you at the first time when you watch. But it is not a problem. Maybe every film has got this type of problem. It is not a problem, but for me it is a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, I think I also give it a 9 out of 10. It's fair. It's a wonderful movie.
How we doing this morning?
Good. And you?
Can't complain.
So what's our next move?
You tell me.
Gotta get off this rock, Chuck. Get back to the mainland, whatever the hell's going on here, it's bad. Don't worry about it, they're not gonna catch us.
That's right, we're too smart for them.
Yeah, we are, aren't we? You know, this place makes me wonder.
Yeah, what's that, boss?
Which would be worse? To live as a monster? Or to die as a good man?
Teddy?